My dear boys and girls, how kind of you to keep me company in my dreary and dark prison cell. I rarely have company, so I value very much your time. Some of you may know me as Constance Booth, and others of you know me as Countess Markievicz. I did, after all, marry a Polish prince. Here I am, in Mountjoy jail, the fifth of my prison sentences over the years since I was first incarcerated in 1916 after the Rising. Am I a repeat offender? Indeed I am. But I ask you a question, my dear boys and girls. Am I a common prisoner, or am I a political Republican prisoner? You may ponder that question as you listen to my prison story, and I ask you to make up your own minds. Am I a common criminal, or am I a political prisoner? Firstly, I really must apologize, boys and girls. I really look a dishevelled mess in here. The prison food is not nurturing, and it does not keep illness, colds, coughs, aches, pains away. The stale air here suffocates me, and the lack of sunlight and daylight sees my skin grey. My hair grey too from lack of coloured hair must look a horrid sight to you. So I ask you to forgive me my dishevelled, tarnished look. Such is prison life, my dears. One doesn't have the comforts of home. One sleeps on a hard-board bed, and we all know how we love the coziness of our own beds. A blanket which is so thin it barely gives warmth, and of course the bucket in the corner, and you all know what that is for. Not a very hygienic picture, really. But I must put up with what is here. I cannot complain. I am seasoned now. I know how to play the game within these prison walls. I was first incarcerated in 1916 after the Rising. I took active part in the Rising. And when I was arrested, I asked to be executed like the other men executed on Arbour Hill. But I, being of gentry blood, and Anglo-Irish, was an embarrassment to the authorities. I was sent to Kilmainham jail, and it was from my prison cell that I could hear the shots ring out as they executed those brave, brave men who fought for our republic. I was shipped to Aylesbury Prison, out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. A vile, unhygienic, and quite frightening place. I was kept in solitary confinement there, partly for my own safety. I was with common criminals, thieves, embezzlers, murderers, and frightening women, who called me that traitor woman because I had gone against the crown. I was separated from my Irish political prisoners. It was a hard time in Aylesbury Prison, and my health was affected deeply by it. My next prison sentence was also in England, in Holloway Prison. I was fortunate enough to share a cell with my dear friends and activists, Maud Gawn MacBride and Kathleen Clark, widow of Thomas Clark, who was executed in 1916. We were utterly bored in Holloway Prison. There was very little to do there, but I do remember that we practiced and learned our Irish as best we could when we were together in our cell. I was also held in Cork Prison for making a speech, a public speech. Cork Prison had a garden, and I valued that. It helped keep up my spirits. Whereas here in Mountjoy all I see is grey, grey, grey stone. I am kept separated from all the other prisoners here too. And for a woman who loved to talk, I find that I am silent most of the day. And silence makes us think. And I think sad thoughts, but I also think of family, especially my sister Eva, who continuously writes to me. Because letters are what I wait for here in prison, to get correspondence from my friends, to hear how things are at home, are so important to me. I am reminded here in this prison cell. I am reminded of the sacrifice of men and women. And last week I heard from my cell here shots ring out in Croke Park. Bloody Sunday, they called it. When the authorities killed 14 and injured 60 innocent people, shot down like stray dogs. A step too far for the English crown. A nation in shock as I was when I heard the news. But we will keep on fighting. We will fight for our freedom no matter what they send to us, no matter what cruel doing they send our way. It is November. The end of November 1920, and I sense the coming of Christmas in the sounds that I hear outside my prison cell. You boys and girls, no doubt, are excited by the thought of Christmas. Indeed, there will be no Christmas celebrations here at Mountjoy. But I have my memories of wonderful Christmases at Lissadell, my family home. Casimir, my husband, and I would always travel to Lissadell for Christmas celebrations, and of course to see our daughter Maeve. We would have carol services. We would have Christmas pudding. We would have guests coming. Such excitement. And I, according to my daughter Maeve, was always the guest of honor, always center stage at soirees. This angered Maeve, I remember. It angered her because she thought that I was showing off. Poor Maeve. She has lived with my mother, Georgina Gore-Booth, at Lissadell, and later at our Even, all her childhood days and her teenage years. I'm afraid that Georgina is more mother to her than I am. My mother insisted that Maeve come to Lissadell to live in safety there. There were troubles in Dublin, and as I was part of a revolution and a Republican cause, she felt it was safer for Maeve to be with her in County Sligo, and I agreed. But it affected our relationship much. And Maeve and I have a very strained relationship, I fear. She is angry with me. She calls me a traitor to the crown. She cannot understand why I, of Anglo-Irish lineage, should take part in a revolution, in a republic rising. She feels I should be part of the world of Lissadell and the world of the gentry, and not offer sympathies to an Irish cause. I have tried to explain to her about my nationalism. I've tried to explain to her that all I want is freedom, equality, and rights for women and workers and for the citizens of this state. I want us to rule ourselves so that we can be the best that we can be. But still she admonishes me and tells me that I am a traitor to her family and to the crown. Maybe someday she will understand. Maybe someday she will know that her mother was not a common criminal, but did what she did out of truth. She did what she did because she thought it was right. Sometimes I have angry thoughts when I think of the way my family treat me. They never write to me, you know. But Eva, my dear, dear sister, writes to me often, and she keeps me updated as to how things are at Lissadell and at Ard even. I live for correspondence. I live for letters from friends and from Eva. I keep all my letters close to me. I carry them on my person for fear that they might be stolen from my prison cell. They keep me strong. They keep me going. And they keep me informed. All my letters are read by the governor and by the wardens, and they are censored. And when I write letters to send out from the prison, I must be so careful not to anger the authorities, or my letters will not be sent. One must be so careful here. I am separated from all other prisoners at Mountjoy. I am not allowed to talk to women who are political prisoners. But I do get an opportunity to see them at least when I go to Mass. I have converted to the Roman Catholic faith, and I attend Mass. I saw a Donegal woman at Mass the last day. Ethna Coyle, a true activist. She smiled across the aisle at me. We, of course, are not allowed to speak, but that gave me joy. She, like me, will continue the fight. These prison walls will neither crush nor break us. As I said, it is November 1920. Life is hard here in a prison. Little comfort and little company means that one thinks too much and one thinks angry thoughts. But when I leave my prison cell, I make sure that I keep a brave face on. It helps keep the morale up, and it helps keep the morale of other prisoners when they see me in the yard having exercises 1 hour a day. We are on the cusp of change, my dears, and I will continue to fight for a new Ireland, for a republic. It is late now, and I should not have my candle lit. If the warden finds me with my candle lit, I shall be punished. I leave you with one thought, dear boys and girls. I asked you a question earlier. Am I a common criminal like thieves and murderers? Or am I a political prisoner for a Republican cause? I leave that to you to answer for yourselves. But now I must put angry thoughts away and say my prayers and blow out my candle and thank you kindly for spending this time with me. Constance Gorbooth wishes you safety and hopes that you will never have to suffer for freedom the way we have. Be brave, little ones. Be true to yourselves and love your mothers. Ihawaii, August Slán.